Reef Beef with Ben and Rich. This is a great podcast show. We also have Humble Fish, everything you need to know about quarantining fish.
The next one, and Caitlin can talk about her topic.
All right, so we're into episode 13.
13.
Yeah.
Flying on through them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Caitlin wants to talk about.
Water changes.
Yeah.
What do you want to change it to?
There's a lot of people that don't do water changes.
Mm.
That's one thing. A lot of people. It's easy to get lazy
Yeah.
on water changes.
Yeah, it is.
It's not that they don't do it. It's just.
And then it gets really backed up, and your algae starts growing, and then it's out of control, and then
Yeah, because your nitrates are.
Yeah. So how much water do you change every month?
How much water we change?
No, how much should you change on a tank?
depends on your livestock and bioload. But
Yeah.
the rule of thumb is 25% a month.
You do 25%?
A month.
A month. I'm only doing like 20.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But you should, 25 is kind of the standard.
Yeah.
Well, in freshwater, you do more water changes compared to saltwater, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, bigger ones.
Bigger ones, yeah.
I think it's more because in salt water we have things that we put in our water to take things out that we don't want.
Yeah.
In
True.
fresh
Like
water,
a reactor.
Yeah, like a reactor. Whereas freshwater, there's nothing really that you put in that can help take out stuff you need. So the only way to export is actually physically take that water out, right, and put fresh water in to dilute the amount of whatever it is in there, right? So if it's NO3, NO4, whatever, your phosphates, whatever.
Oh, there's some things you can put in there, like there's Purigen.
Yeah, and there's like these that you have that you can put those in your filter as well.
Yeah.
You should probably show them here.
That's why I don't understand why like freshwater people don't run like more in, like get into the sumps.
Yeah. So this is for
that's where you
phosphate removal, right?
Yeah.
So you can use something like this in your tank
Mm-hmm.
in fresh water to help,
Remove phosphates.
But the easiest and the least expensive way is just
water change.
water change, right?
So what is your number one trick for your water changes? What would you suggest to people about water changes?
I would test your nitrates every week and see where they're at, and that'll kind of tell you how much of a water change you need to do that week or how much you need to do in a month.
Yeah.
Anything?
It's true, because like with my freshwater tank, before I moved my fish over, I did 60 gallons a week water change on that. Not all at once, but like twice a week I'd change like 30 gallons out. But you've seen all the fish that were in it.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Right.
couldn't see the tank. Fish.
So that had a heavy bioload,
True.
and I feed heavy. So doing 30 gallons once, like on Tuesdays and Thursdays kind of thing, then that kept everything down. I didn't have any algae issues at all or anything like that. If I had not done water changes on that tank, it would have gone south real fast, just because the amount of bioload I had in it.
Yep.
But people should prep the water before. I think
Yes.
that's something that we should
Yeah.
talk about. Salt water and fresh water. You need to prep it. You know what I mean? Like for salt water, remember we did a mix. So a customer came in and says, I want water right now. Well, I usually let it sit for 24 hours,
Yeah.
let it mix. And then we tested it. It was like a 1.024, 25. And buddy says, I need it. So, okay, give it to him. And the next day we came in, it was like 29 or 30.
30, I think
Oh,
it
really?
was.
It was like 30, yeah. So it's really important that you
Well, the
mix it.
temperature
The only
impacts,
reason why I
yeah.
gave it to him was
Yeah.
because he really
Yeah.
needed it. So I had told him like test it again. So make the adjustment
Yeah.
that is needed, right?
Once it warms up. But
Yeah.
I mean,
There's temperature you need to make
Yeah.
sure.
But
For
we-
fresh water, you got to remove the chlorine and that, right?
Yep.
yeah. Well, we talked about this before on one of our other shows we
Yeah.
used to do a while back about your source water.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like make sure your source water, if it be a well or a tap or city water, every city's different. I'm sure, St. John water is different than the Moncton water, which
Yeah.
is different than the Fredericton water. So you also have to test the water to make sure it matches what your fish want to have in the tank, right? Because your city water, the hardness might be, 4, and your fish want 8. Well,
You need to boost it up.
you have to boost
And that's
it
the
up.
same thing
Yeah.
for salt water too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not as easy as just taking water out of the tap and pouring it in your tank. Like you really, well,
there's tools that you can.
Yeah, there's
The
things
tools
that you
are-
can do to make sure that, you know,
The best way is to pump it out, pump it in.
Yeah.
That is, you know, the less hassle, less physical work. If you're
Yeah.
able to pump it in, pump it out.
Yeah.
Like whenever we move tanks or we do a new build, we pump it into the truck and we pump from the truck to the tank.
right.
So if you're able to do that with a water change, like I know a lot of people use those pythons or whatever,
Yeah.
something like that goes right. You know,
Yeah.
you're not carrying buckets.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep.
So, yeah. For me, when I do water changes on the saltwater tanks, I got my hose. I siphon that out and then dump it
Yeah.
and just pour the other water in there.
Unless, of course, you have like some of your contract tanks that automatically do it.
Yeah. So you can have that in there. You can buy controllers that actually do the water changes for you. It's like my big tank at Honda. Like every day changes 5 gallons.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Anything else, Caitlin, wanted to
Yeah.
add to that?
No, I think it's good.
That was pretty much it.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome.
Thanks for watching.
Cool. What's next?
Now let's do this one.
Holy jumping! What are we